Hi, Anals. It's Fumi, and I am leaving New York City.
Fumi's finally had enough of all this horrible New York City crap, and he's gone Hollywood.
I'm going Hollywood. We're going to Tinseltown, y'all.
Yeah, dude.
And to celebrate, I'm having a Goodbye Hack City show in New York City. It'll be the last one we'll do together for a little bit. And it's going to be July 28th, Wednesday, at Canal Street Market at 8 p.m.
It's us coming back to Canal Street Market, so it's our first show since the pandemic back at Canal Street Market. Get your tickets at asiannotasianpod.com or check the episode description. Or
go to the bio link on our Instagram page at Asian Not Asian Pod. We hope to see you there, because if you don't, I'll take it personally and I'll hate you forever. Okay? Bye. Why does it have to be like, I don't like them, but I like you? Like, I don't care about this other part. All we got is self-anointing, and I feel like comments like that kind of strip away at the very little credit and confidence that we're trying to build. And welcome back to another episode of Asian Not Asian Podcast, a podcast where two Asian guys not from Asia talk about American issues no American cares about. I'm your host, Fumi Abe.
And I'm Mike Nguyen.
Today is Saturday, July 10th, coming at you from a undisclosed location.
Woo-hoo.
As always, if you were listening to this on your phones, please take a screenshot, post it on Instagram stories, tag us at Asian Not Asian Pod. It really, really helps get the word out there, so please do that. And if you're listening to this on your iPhones, please go to the podcast app, leave us a 5-star review. Hey, you know how it is. We're an independent podcast. Okay, this is a mom and pop shop. You know those people selling fruit stands outside on like Canal Street?
Yeah,
that's us.
Yep.
But with jokes about our swamp asses.
Yep.
Okay, so
we got fresh bits for you.
We got fresh bits for you, so please do that. And I think that's it for the announcements. You know, this might be a shocking kind of way to start the show, but Anals, if you've been paying attention, you know that I got a job and I might be leaving New York soon, and it's finally happening. Yep. So this is actually our last in-person session that we will do for a little bit.
For a little bit.
You'll
come back. I mean, you'll be back soon.
I'll be back soon.
But this is the last one of you and me, you know, with our shitty camera setup.
Yes.
Inside a Canal Street Market, you know, with our guests all in person. Because moving forward, we're going to have to do some sort of combination of someone's on Zoom, and maybe me and the guest are here, and you're on Zoom or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is like the last time the Illuminati get together and sacrifice the Virgin.
Yes.
And then the Virgin sacrifice has to be on Zoom after that.
It's the end of an era. Also, I love that you said shitty cameras, because we actually bought expensive cameras, but they're kind of heavy, so we don't bring them. That's really what it is. So before we start the show, we always do a shout out to our newest Patreon guests or like Patreon supporters. If you don't know what that is, go to patreon.com/Asian Not Asian Pod. It is the easiest way to support the podcast. It is the best way to support the podcast.
Yep.
And what it is you give us money on a monthly basis, anywhere from $5 to whatever you want to give, and that money goes to buying these shitty cameras, as Mike calls them, paying for an editor, paying for a producer who do like 80-90% of the work. And as I move to LA, we're gonna have to. There's probably other costs involved, and so again, we're a completely independent podcast, so we really, really need your help. So please do that, and as a reward, we give you a shout out on the podcast and try to guess your ethnicity based purely on your last name. So here we go. We have we have 4 new people this week who joined.
Yep.
Starting with Jeff Chan, CHAN.
Chinese
as hell. This one is Bauhinia Lee. Okay, I DM'd with this person because she gave $10 and I had to slide into her DMs.
Nice.
She told me this is a flower. Bauhinia.
Oh, interesting.
It's the flower of Hong Kong or something.
Oh, okay.
Whatever's on their passport.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say this person sounds like Chinese, Taiwanese, but then it was such an unusual name. So I was like, maybe this is like actually like a Thai person who's also Chinese.
A Thai person who cut their last name in half.
Exactly.
But we know you're Hong Kongnese. Shout out. And here at Asian Nation, we recognize you as a sovereign nation.
Can we say that? I think. Well, now this podcast has been banned in China. So, but shouts for that.
Okay, next we have this one's wild, bro.
This is a sick name.
Amira Imad El Haj Umar.
Dude,
I don't know where the first name ends and the last name begins. This is really crazy.
This is okay. So we always guess that not just ethnicities but nationalities of Asian people. But this person is Middle Eastern. But then do we want to get? I don't know if I can get more specific than that. Saudi Arabian, that doesn't make sense.
I was gonna say like Kuwait. I'm getting Kuwait vibes.
I'm getting some Kuwait vibes. I'm getting some Kuwait vibes.
I'm sensing some oil money here.
Dude.
Or maybe, do you think this is two people? This is a couple. Maybe it's like Amira Imad and her roommate El Haj Umar. Do people have roommates in Kuwait? I have no idea.
Nah, dude. I don't know. Roommates is a Western thing.
Is it? I don't know. Is it Craigslist / Kuwait?
No, I think this is one person, and I think that Arabic people sometimes have fire ass names like this.
Yeah, Amira sounds like Arabic, maybe Muslim. I don't know, like that kind of vibe. El Haj.
I think there's probably a dash in there that this person,
I missed. Yeah,
just doesn't even want to put in there because it's already too fire of a name.
Yeah,
and then so I think this is a Kuwaiti person with no roommates. Nailed it.
Okay, finally we're gonna cleanse our palate with Connor Luong.
Okay, so I think this person is Chinese Vietnamese. You know what's interesting?
You don't meet a lot of Connor because the most popular guy in my high school was named Connor.
Yep.
So whenever I think of Connor, I think of like hot Irish football player.
Okay. So I think this is the new breed of hot Vietnamese guys. Mm-hmm. Okay. They used to be the Kevin Nguyen's.
Yes.
But now we got some Connor Nguyen's.
Bro, you're telling me there are Vietnamese kids out there born in like 2007 with names like Clay?
Yeah.
Clay?
There's definitely a Brooklyn Nguyen out there.
Damn.
Okay, for sure. And that guy fucks. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So this is an Asian guy who gets it. So thank you so much for
Connor.
your money, and have a great hop back summer. We love you guys. And again, if you want to get in on this game, go to patreon.com/Asian.AsianPod. Moving on to story of the week.
This is a good one. I can't wait.
This shit got me fucked up, Mike.
I love it when you get fucked up.
Because here's the thing. I'm like a pretty nice guy, I think. I don't want to use the word nice. I'm a pretty easy guy.
You're mellow. Yeah,
I'm
you're pretty
easy as in I don't have energy to deal with your bullshit, so I'll just yes man it and I'll live through life that way. Probably not the best way.
I know what you mean.
But I'm just like, it takes a lot to make me really mad, right?
Yep.
So this is something happened this week that made me really mad. My friend I haven't seen in a while, a good college friend. We used to work at Ipado together. Shout out to Louie. She was like, I haven't seen you in a while. Let's catch up. I have a new boyfriend. I want you to meet him. I was like, yes, let's hang out.
Yep.
So she lives in the neighborhood. So we go to Do or Dive Bar in Bed Stuy, which apparently is like, it's kind of famous only because it used to be a diner called Do or Dine. And that got some sort of attention.
Yep.
They closed and it became Do or Dive. Now it's a dive bar.
Yep.
And we always talk about the race timer on this podcast. A race timer is this sketch that Mike and I will never write, but hopefully one day we will, about a timer you can set on the bar as you're ordering at the bar as a person of color, and after a certain time it tells you if the bartender is not looking at you because he's racist.
Right.
If they're not
if a certain amount of time has passed, then this person is racist.
Is racist, right?
Exactly.
And so I'm at this fucking bar, and when you walk in, it's very like hipster, like fucking like jorts, like those mullet, those mullets that are right now, mullet.
Yeah. To give you more context, this is one of my favorite bars.
And I can't fucking believe it. I'm really like, I thought when he told me that earlier, I was like, dude, we might have to end our friendship because this is like, I don't know how. Let me talk through my shit, and I'm gonna take you to court because I don't know. Okay, so I walk in. It's very hipster, and the patrons are all. It's very white, but it's my least favorite kind of white. It's that like Bernie, like mullet. I mean, it's not Bernie necessarily. It's just like the mullet, the fucking glasses. They don't shower. Nobody shaves anything.
Yep.
The bicycle, and again, like I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Like I'm not like. But when I see that, I'm going to expect a certain thing. And this time around, I was right. So I go in.
Oh, shit.
To me, when I see these people at this bar acting like this, I'm just like, you're the people who like you didn't vote for Trump, but you have no black friends. You know what I mean? Like you hate Republicans, like intensely hate them, but you would never date an Asian person. You would never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the vibe I get. So I'm at the fucking bar. It's maybe 40% packed, right?
Yeah.
40%. It's not packed at all.
Yeah.
And I'm at the bar. I timed it. I timed it because I was so mad. I timed it. 13 minutes.
No way.
13 minutes to get a fucking Miller High Life.
The race timer is.
And I didn't do this on purpose. I would just make eye contact. I wasn't like, hey.
Yeah.
I would like just kind of do this. Just a regular.
Sure.
Took me 13 minutes. The bartender kept going to other people who had just arrived at the bar and maybe got in front of me or whatever it is.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm at a bar. I just assumed if you're a fucking bartender, you know who got there first. That's your fucking job. Anyways, the bartender, he's got the fucking mullet, he's got the jorts, he's like bisexual or whatever. His name is probably fucking Sam, and he's just like not paying attention to me. I get the fucking beer, and I'm so upset, and it ruined my evening. And then I just started paying attention to all the details of the bar.
Yes.
And I wrote this down. Okay. First of all, you ever walk into a bar and you're like, I don't want to fuck anybody here. That's what this bar is like. Nobody there was attractive, remotely attractive. I'm talking about guys too. They're not. I was just like, you guys are fucking gross.
Yep.
And it's also like, this is a red flag. Okay. So visually, I'm like, I know what kind of white people this is, right? Yep. And then I'm like, okay, then you're gonna race timer me. Then you're not gonna serve me, bro, for 15 minutes.
But race timer went off. Yep.
Okay. Then I'm listening to the music.
Ooh, here we go.
What do I hear? Are you guys familiar with the category of music called Blue Eyed Soul?
No.
Blue Eyed Soul is soul music by white people.
Okay.
I'm talking Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald, Steely Dan. Okay. What else did I write down? Fucking Hall & Oates.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I like Hall & Oates.
I like Hall & Oates.
But if you're gonna play these bands back to back and everybody's dancing and whatever, that's not okay with me.
Yes.
Okay. That is, to me, I got a very like, again, this is like, you like soul, you like dancing, but not from black people.
Yeah.
You want to hear from the whites.
Yeah.
You want a white people grooving on the guitar. And here's the thing. It's like, no, Hall & Oates is great. And Steely Dan is great. But
like all of them together.
All of them back to back with this attitude and the race timer goes off. All of it. I just wanted to burn the fucking place down, bro. And then I found out later that, they took over a restaurant called Do or Dine.
Right.
And all they did to the awning, instead of getting a new sign or coming up with an original name for a bar, they just spray painted V on the dine. So it says Do or Die.
Yeah.
It's the old sign, but they just fucking did that. And I was like, that is so fucking representative of what this fucking place is, man. Yep. You just come in here in Bed. This is like Bed Stuy.
It's on Bedford.
It's not your fucking place. It's fucking Bed. This is not where bisexual Sams live, okay? This is where Caribbean families work for 18 hours a day, 2 jobs. This is where they live. This is their You're going to come in here, put a fucking V and fucking sell Miller High Lights for $8 and not fucking serve me?
Yeah.
Fuck off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was so fucking mad. And then I go to Yelp because I was going to leave a review, and the first review, I pasted it. The first review I see.
This is the first one?
This is the first one. This is from May 20th. It's very recent.
And this isn't you even.
This isn't even me. And this is what he wrote. I'll keep it a buck. This, by the way, I don't think this guy is white. His name is Days. So, I don't know. Take that.
Yep.
Do whatever you want with that information. He said, 1 star. May 20th, 2021. I'll keep it a buck. This spot is for the white folks that want to feel safe in gentrified Bed Stuy. The security guard is the best part about this place. The bartenders suck, especially the motherfucker slinging drinks in the back. Have a better attitude when paying clients come at your spot, bro. Also, bartenders in the back, your jokes are trash. Also, bartender in the back, stop trying to use your black security guard as your safety net for your shitty attitude towards paying customers. It's not our fault. You made terrible decisions in your life. Go back to Maine and let's
go back to Maine. What a roast!
This guy's going up, and let's see how much you get away with over there. R.I.P. Paul Mooney. We need more diversity behind the counter in the evening. These jabronis don't know nothing.
Damn, jabronis, calling them jabronis, telling them to go back to Maine.
Yes.
That's deep cut.
Yes.
That's deep cut. Yeah. I'm 100% all the people who went there have liberal arts degrees that they paid like $100,000 for.
For sure. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just had to get that off my chest.
Yes. One of my favorite bars. Yes. So I just want to put that out there.
How?
It is, so here's, when I go there, it's totally fine. I go there, and I think maybe.
When did you go though?
I mean, I haven't been in a little while, but I mean, I probably most recently went there like in, I don't know, February or something like that. And I used to go a fair amount, and then more of bars that are like that, which you would hate, got closer to me. Yeah. They've spread like a cancer into into Bed Stuy. Yeah. So now there's some that are closer to me that I go to. So I think well, first of all, the race timer doesn't lie. Okay. This is why
that shit don't lie. That shit don't lie,
it's
baby.
Patented technology. It's based on time space.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It's based on some Einsteinian physics. So you can't fuck with that shit. That's 30 minutes way too fucking long.
Yeah.
Okay? But I feel sometimes I go in there, maybe it's okay for me because I'm kind of, Asian people, we always got to assimilate in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not just good enough to be, I speak English perfectly and I went to college and stuff like that. I also double assimilated by having tattoos.
Yeah.
And I have like cool
and not only do you have
glasses.
tattoos, you have American style tattoos.
I do. I have American style tattoos.
Not weird kanji shit. You have you know, you have American
I have
knives and skulls and dice.
I wear Hawaiian shirts like a proud boy.
Yes. They love that.
Yeah, they love that. They look at me and they go, "Oh, maybe he also has a really expensive art history degree."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've kind of I don't even know what the word is. I've kind of like reached equilibrium with this. Like I used to be like very what you were describing, jorts, fixed gear bicycles and all that shit. And it was very, I just grew up like knowing about people like this who have kind of like a I'm better than you even though I'm not better than you attitude.
Yes.
And because I'm in a creative field, aka I'm a carpenter.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I get it. Whatever. Let's just let sleeping dogs lie. So I feel I have a higher tolerance for it.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I was like trying to get in to that world, and then I realized this world's stupid, but I will still go because I like beer shot specials. That's my thing. I will go there. I will focus on just the beer shot special. It's okay. It's okay. And now I go there, and I kind of now. Funny enough, because I give off the whatever vibe, they can read that. I go, oh, this guy doesn't care either. He's like one of us. Yeah. So it's cat. I wonder when you went there.
I didn't wear my fanny pack.
You didn't wear your fanny pack. God damn it,
that's what it is.
Come on.
I didn't wear my fanny pack.
You gotta wear the fanny pack.
When I got back to the bars, my friend is Japanese and she also dresses cool. So but also I think race timer may be different for women for some, you know what I mean?
Race timer
it's a little bit different for women. There's different settings, But she was like, I was really upset. I told her and she was like, yeah, it's because you didn't wear your fanny pack, bro. You don't look cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I get it. And trust me, as someone who gets into a lot of fights with bartenders, I don't like it. It is the race timer
that kind of disrespect really upsets me because I'm giving you fucking money.
Yeah, I'm giving you money.
It's
such a New York thing too. It's like New York's the only place where you can go somewhere and they go, "We're full today." Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna be full tomorrow? You're gonna be full? You think this is gonna keep going? Yeah. Oh no. Okay, you are but mortal. All right. One day when you're looking at your bank account, you ain't got no money. You're gonna wish that Mike Nguyen was there buying drinks from you.
Yeah,
Anyways,
exactly. So,
but I feel you, dude.
Thanks for letting me vent a little bit. I want to talk to our guest about this because he's also a Brooklynite and also an Asian person.
And also an Asian person. His race timer settings may be different. We'll talk about it.
We're so glad to have this guy on. We've been trying to get him for a while. This guy, man, he has so many credits, but I don't want to name all of them because this isn't a stupid comedy show. This is a great podcast. And this guy is a writer for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, hilarious stand-up comedian. Has an amazing one-man show, which I'll let him kind of talk about himself. Also an Asian person, Filipino. I didn't even check. I'm pretty sure he's Filipino. And I would love to get his take on this. Give it up for the hilarious Michael Cruz Kayne.
Hey. Thank you, friends. Oh, man, I had so much that I wanted to chime in on.
Yes. Go back as far as you want.
Let's rewind.
First of all, the woman who last name is Lee, first name is a flower.
Yes.
That to me screams half white. That feels
That
feels like we got an Asian dad and a mom who's like, no, we should do.
You know what I love about your culture?
We should do?
I love the little
flowers
that's on your passport.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Remember the flowers that are outside the bank where you work? That's what it feels like to me. If I had to guess, that's my guess.
Wow, good one.
Okay, now I'm moving on to the bar.
I love it.
And I think you guys were touching on this. I feel like part of the thing is Mike's radiates outward swag. You're talking about the fanny pack. Like you have normal vibes. You have
no offense taken.
I'm a guy. Mike walks in, it's like what? Like the people are like, oh, this is of our culture.
Sure.
So I think there are a lot of the race timer. I think you're absolutely right. It definitely plays a part in it.
Yeah.
Because I think if you were just a guy who was white, the settings would the outcome would be different.
A little different.
But I think there's definitely an element of if you took a picture of the two of you and I said which one of these guys is going to serve first in a Brooklyn bar, you wouldn't even be second.
Which one is a Brooklyn bar?
Yeah, exactly.
And which one works at a Bank of America?
Which one of these is a bar that a witch brought to life?
No, but my problem is that's fine. If you want to go do that, that's fine. My problem is
okay. Yeah, hit us with a problem.
Context, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
in this historical neighborhood. This
Oh,
is where
word.
Jay-Z's from. This is where Biggie's from. Also, Bed Stuy is not like it's not Bushwick. It's not full of Michigan art students. It's like if you walk around. That's why I like Crown Heights and Bed Stuy, because you walk around, you're like, oh, everybody here is 31 and they're a manager at an advertising agency. It's very normal vibes. These are my people.
Normal vibes.
Okay? You get the fuck out of my bar. That's what I'm saying. You walk in with your regular H&M button-up shirt. That's my vibe. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's like, I get it.
Uniqlo
okay, cool.
vibes.
Like you just moved in from New York 3 years ago. Like, I mean, suck a dick. I don't give a shit. Like, serve me the beer. I've been here for like so long. I just like.
I do like that you're like, it's my neighborhood. Me and all these Caribbean people. It's me. I'm like that.
You know how I always go to the parade every year? Oh my God!
But clearly the guy left the review is maybe a black person or maybe a local, and it's like here's what I thought: if they're gonna treat me like this, a normal Asian guy, I felt scared for the regular
No, I hear that.
Local person.
Were there people that you recognize as like neighborhood people
Absolutely
in there?
not. Nobody. Yeah. But I just imagine it's like if you're gonna, because I'm closer to this bartender than my neighbor who's a nurse or whatever, right? Like with 3 kids. Like, so I'm just wondering if she went in there, I would hate for her to experience something like that.
I live in Williamsburg, and we've already, like, everybody's pushed out. Like there's basically
right.
The people who were in Williamsburg 15 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Almost none of them.
Yeah. Now it's all like Swedish music producers.
Yeah.
You hear I hear all these languages that are foreign, but they're from other whites.
That's
with
exactly
blonde hair.
Absolutely.
Like now the townies, the people who you're like this. Oh, this is a neighborhood person is like Bjork. You know?
Yeah. Do you ever get the race timer thing make sense to you?
It does make sense to me, but I should say that I don't really go to bars. I don't like bars.
Yeah.
I like fellowship, but I don't like volume. It's too loud.
Like church? What are you talking about?
No, I mean well, I guess it is a church term. I like hanging with my friends.
Okay.
I like talking.
Yeah.
Alcohol is expensive and makes me feel bad.
Yes.
And taste bad. So I'm not into it. And then it's so loud. So then I have to be like, I feel weird. I have to be like super intimate with people. Like I'm almost I'm like lip to lip to talk to you. That's not for me.
So if you have friends visiting, you're like, Mike, let's go out. Where do you take them?
Or you just
I'd rather have people
over
at my house. I would rather go to their home.
So though too that Michael, that the race timer still applies to your house.
Yeah.
So if I came to your house,
because your wife is white. Your wife is white,
and I'd be like, let's see how long it takes for me to get a hot dog. And if it takes more than 8 minutes, Michael Cruz Kayne, I'm like, this fucking racist got me into his house.
That's true. I think if both of you were to come just to get equilibrium in the universe, I would have to serve Fumi first.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to dress like that, but my soul is like that.
Yeah. Well, I just felt like even if I dressed like this, those bars, they could sniff it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can sniff it out.
Oh my God, bro.
You know what I mean? The way I smile, bro.
Yeah. They'd be like, you borrowed that from your friend.
The way
right?
my wallet is organized, dude.
Your way, yeah. You don't have a wallet. You don't have a chain wallet.
Yeah.
And also your haircut. I think that's funny.
Well,
you wrote that review, didn't you? That's you.
I'm days end. I'm days end.
Whoever wrote this, some guy who wrote this.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad I saw that review, and also I talked to my friend Pranav. He's been on the show. He had the same experience.
Oh, he doesn't like that place either.
Okay,
but
Pranav is pretty. He gives off some of that vibe.
He's a little bit different. He's like more drugs than other people can handle. You know what I mean? Like
I see.
he's too Woodstock, I think.
Yeah,
he really
is.
He goes hippie.
He goes hippie. These guys are like.
He's more hippie.
These guys are like. I don't even like. Yeah, art majors, like goes to screenings.
Yes, yes. Like go to Pratt. Is Pratt near where you live?
Yes, very
Pratt, near. Yeah. They have like some of them maybe pagan. Like
the Maine thing really got me. That's exact. They definitely came from Maine. 100%.
Yeah.
These are all Maine people for sure.
I see. Yeah, but I'm picturing more of like an arty vibe from what you're, because Maine to me is a pickup truck and actually country music. Is like
okay.
I think of Maine.
But I think like
certain parts of Maine are very liberal and they're fucking pretentious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I think like the people at this bar may be like people who grew up with that and are like, I'm different, and I'm gonna move to New York.
Yeah,
but I still have some of that country thing in me.
I hear you. Yes.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
picture a person who like fashioned a table out of like some wood they found in the street, and they sleep on the table, no mattress. And like, that's my thing. You know what I mean? Like
mattress is bourgeois.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Yes. Well, Michael, thanks for coming on the pod today.
Thank you for having me so much.
You know what? I'm digging this vibe right now. The three of us right now, and and it's not like we're super tight.
The fellowship.
The fellowship. This
fellowship
is what we call
fellowship.
This fellowship.
And I think there's a lot of reasons why we're vibing. We're straight Asian guys, but this is another element. You are a little bit. You're like us. You're a little older. Okay, we're not.
Yes, I'm in my very late 20s.
So late,
profoundly late.
Wow,
we're in our 30s, and we love that, right?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say that? Well, you're not.
What's that?
Are you really not in your 30s?
I'm not in my 30s.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm in my 50s.
But I wanted to. This topic is called "We Got Older, but We're Still Young." Okay.
Oh, I see. Yes.
I love this. Okay. Are we into a segment? Did we just transition into a segment?
Kind of.
I love this.
Yeah. Well, this is now Mike. This is now Mike's turn to vet.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I have like so many jobs, and so I have a lot of different jobs, and I still like take on like freelance work because it's just like I was a freelancer for a long time, so it's hard for me to say no to things, even if I have like a regular job.
I understand that. I have a regular job, and I still have that same problem.
Absolutely, you know.
Someone's like, "Do you want to write jokes for like the comptroller?" I'm like, "Okay,
yeah,
sure. How much is it? $17? I'll do it."
Yeah, absolutely. Like so someone will pay me in pizza to move a couch, and I'm like, I guess I'll do it. I have no choice. So and I'll save the pizza. So I'll take on freelance work from, from my friend. And it's my friend and her husband, and we're all friends now. We all went to the same college. I've known her for like more than a decade, and the two of them have started their own like advertising thing, right? And I'll do freelance work for them, and they used to live in New York. They moved to Seattle. They are living it up. They bought a house there, and they had they called me and they're like, "Hey, we're coming back to New York just to do like a dinner hangout thing, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool. It'll be like a casual dinner hangout." And I go to this dinner, and it's inside this really nice hotel in the financial district. And I'm sitting with them, and of course I've known them for so long. So I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm giving them hugs and all this stuff. But then they have all of these employees. There's like 8 other employees. A lot of them are really young. And we're all sitting down, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is one of those like business dinners, except, my friends are the bosses." Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Usually I go to these things and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to drink too much. I'm going to have one beer, nurse it, and just sit down and just be cool. And now I'm on like the other side of the table. Like literally, actually, we're all sitting, like me and my friends were sitting on one side and all the younger people were sitting on the other side. And I'm one of the proletariat still. I work for my friends.
Yeah.
But I was watching them and I was like, "Oh my God, my friends." And they're very nice. Of course, they're great people. But I was like, they're the bosses now, And I'm like watching it kind of from both sides a little bit. And, it's awesome what they've done. And, but it's just funny because I've known them forever. I knew these people as like, we're going to do, body shots now, right? And now they've like built this whole thing.
Hey, you work for them.
I work for them. I literally work for them.
Yeah.
I literally get checks from them. And I'm watching like all these people who view them as, "Oh, this is my boss," And it's such a crazy, like weird thing because again, you knew someone as like, a shitty college kid, and now they're like running this whole company and everything like that. And
do you feel bad?
I was thinking about it.
Because you wrote in here, you felt like a background character.
It felt kind of like a background character because I always feel like I don't know if this is how you guys feel. I always feel like I'm watching other people succeed in movies, and I'm just like the guy who's just like serving them drinks. I always feel like that.
that's
not
a character you
literally
relate to.
Not literally, but the vibe of like, oh, I'm just kind of like on the side here observing.
Do you what's your judgment of that? Like you're describing it a very like third person narrator. My question is, is that a bad feeling?
You know what? I want to say it's actually not.
Okay.
It's not a bad feeling. And to your point about do I feel bad about it? I don't, because I chose this. I chose my like stupid life. You know what I'm saying?
But I feel like you used to feel bad about it.
I think
maybe up until a couple of years ago even.
I used to feel more bad about it, but then I'm like, you know, we all have a role to play in life, and we, you know, if we were all if the whole world is like a Dungeons and Dragons party, not all of us can be the wizard. Not all of us can be the fighter.
This analogy means literally nothing.
Yeah, no. What are the other characters? I thought everybody was a wizard.
Okay. You know, let's just drop it. I chose this life as like a weird creative person.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, you know, like, so I can't be mad that I'm like not rich or own a yacht.
Because I do feel like you could, based purely on vibe, if you were like, I have decided to be like a graphic design guru.
Yeah.
Within 4 minutes, you would walk in a room and start to be like, this feels like it's like that feels like I would pay this $500,000 sight unseen.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. I exude Photoshop. That's for sure. The energy I have. But I don't feel that bad again because like I'm a creative weirdo. I'm hanging out with you two assholes on a Saturday.
Yeah.
This is just like it's okay.
Oh, that's good. I was thinking this was gonna be like I thought we were gonna have to like lift your spirits up.
No,
you know?
I do
because
feel
I still remember like when we used to have those like meetings at coffee shops and like when we were like a little younger.
Yeah.
You would tell me about your friends who were like more successful than you, and you're like a little bit older than me, so it was like it was real, you know. You're like, oh, my friend made partner.
Well, yeah. Like you know literally, my friends are killing it, but I don't feel that weird about it because what did I expect? I didn't go to law school. I wouldn't. I would be a terrible lawyer. I would lose cases constantly, so I would have been kicked out of that, and then I would have you know what I'm saying? So I chose this thing, and I feel like this is just how it is. And I feel, I don't get me wrong. I don't want to be poor, but
sure,
I'm okay with like
Well, Michael, like you've got a family, you've got kids.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I actually don't know what you were doing for a living prior to writing for Colbert, but I'm guessing this is probably like the most money you've ever made in your life. I don't know if that's true or not.
I went to college to study musical theater.
Hey.
Try not to be attracted to me. Keep it in. And I didn't make very much money at it because no one wanted to hire me to do it. Also, even if you do get hired to do it, you don't make any money.
Right.
And so I quit and long story short, I started teaching rich kids how to take tests. And not always rich kids, but mostly rich kids.
Yes.
And I made kind of a boatload of money doing that.
Okay.
And I think for like what you're talking about, I had a lot of friends who are either continued to do musical theater or when I started taking class at UCB, who became very close friends, who would look at me and be like, damn, that dude, like that guy just bought an apartment.
Yeah.
Like that was off tutoring money. And I can tell you for sure, at least from my point of view, everything's a trade-off. You know what I mean? It's like, I look at people who kept doing comedy all that time, like who were doing it 24/7, and I see some of their output, and I'm like, if I had said to myself, I'll make $0 for 10 years,
right,
then maybe I would have come up with. But you make the choices that you make and end up where you end up. Where I am now, to me, like wealth, and I know this is not an original thought, is the ability to do whatever I want whenever I want to.
Yes,
which I do feel like
100%.
Once you have a mortgage, you don't have that ability.
You don't have that.
So I have a mortgage on my house. I can't be like, I'm just not going to work for 6 months. I'm just not going to do it. Whereas I have friends who are like, my rent is $500 a month. I wait tables 2 nights a month, and then I do whatever I want the rest of the time. But also they're like, oh man, dude, like I wish I had
health insurance.
Exactly. I wish I had health insurance. I wish I had a car. I love all the free time I have to get gout. But I think, so I have made in the tutoring world. Weirdly, I worked for a company. It's a great company. I loved working there. I don't have a single bad thing to say about it. And I made really good money. I was like flying back and forth to Abu Dhabi to tutor. I was going. You know what I mean? It was like.
Hold on. Was this at the Princeton Review?
It was not a Princeton Review.
Okay.
I worked at a company like Princeton Review before I worked at the company where I eventually spent most of my time working.
Okay.
But it was great, and I loved it, and I was weirdly good at it. But I just at a certain point I was like I started doing comedy too much, and I liked it too much.
Yeah.
And I was like I have to stop.
There's so many things you talk about. I'm a big believer in trade-offs. You know, like I understand that there's going to be trade-offs, and that's why I didn't feel bad about the whole thing when I went to my friend's fancy dinner, because I felt like I was aware of what the trade-offs are going to be. I went into them, and I felt they were fair. You know what I'm saying? I feel it would be worse if it was like I was working really, really hard in comedy. I'm at a comedy dinner, and somebody who didn't work that hard in comedy was really successful, and I would feel like, oh, this is bullshit. I hate this. But like, hey, these people worked really hard at their thing, and they're doing great. That's awesome. And I feel like I made the trade-off in this. I put all my experience points into this other thing, and that's why I have more of this rather than more that they have. And that's totally fair.
I think that really is what. And if you can have the attitude that it seems like you have, which is like, I did this, they did that, and that it is what it is. I think that's a very healthy emotional space to be in. I am never that. I'm looking at every other person's thing, and I'm like, damn, I should have did that. Well, like literally, like, oh, dude, that shirt, I should have
worn that shirt. I'm thinking I should have gone to law school, and you're just like, I should have shopped at another store.
Yeah, that mentality you're talking about though is so healthy, and I think it takes people. It's hard to get there because I had the same thing where
like Dalai Lama shit.
Yeah, but like I mean, in comedy and in real life, like I also again I think another reason why we get along is because I had a full-time job for a very long time. I didn't like it, but I was making money. I had insurance, and I think I wasn't like walking dogs, but it was very tiring to do that from 9 to 6 and then do comedy for the rest of my time. Totally. And even when I was giving it 100%. You know, I had friends who walked dogs, and then they got on late night like 3 years before I did, and all this stuff, right? Like, so you do see it, and you kind of feel weird.
It's hard to not compare.
100%. But like recently, like, you know, you're talking about you're working for your friends now. You know, I have a lot of friends who bought houses and stuff like 3-4 years ago, but they all live in Ohio.
Yeah.
And the houses are like $200,000 over there, so I was like, that doesn't really do anything.
That's the trade-off,
it's
right?
Just like
you can have a house, but you got to live in Ohio.
It doesn't scare me. Yeah. But now I'm 31. Now I have friends, classmates from NYU, same major. Just bought an apartment in New York City, has an apartment in LA. Another girl just bought a Tesla. You know? Shit. So these are like people with the same education, right? Same starting point. So it's got me kind of thinking about it. But at the same time, you're right. Like I didn't get jealous because I was like, what am I gonna do with a Tesla? Like, what?
That's not gonna help me get on to late night, you know.
And also, they're gonna see you when your set airs on late night, and they're gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, what if I should have done what Fumi did? And if you're anything like me, that makes you feel good.
Oh man, what's that? What are you drinking there, buddy? What are you drinking? It looks dank,
bro. This right here is Sanzo, which is the first Asian-inspired sparkling water.
Whoa.
Their drinks use real fruit like calamansi, lychee, and Alfonso mango to deliver a refreshing taste. No added sugars, artificial, or natural flavors. Sanzo's mission, if you're wondering, is to bridge cultures by connecting people with these authentic flavors.
Yo, I've been hearing about the Sanzo shit, man. It sounds real good. They use real fruit puree, no added sugar, completely flavored and gently sweetened by real fruit. And that means the flavors have less than 20 calories and less than 4 grams of sugar. So it's real low sugar, bro.
This is in. If you're not drinking Sanzo, you're not cool right now.
You're not cool. They got all sorts of really good flavors like lychee, mango, calamansi. I just learned what calamansi is. It's this delicious, the golden lime from the Philippines. And that is not made up. That's real stuff, man. For 10% off your order of Sanzo sparkling water, visit drinksanzo.com and enter code Asian Not Asian at checkout. That's drinksanzo.com and enter code Asian Not Asian.
In 2021, a truly diversified portfolio needs more than the traditional mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. It needs private real estate, baby. Studies have shown that portfolios with an allocation to private real estate generally delivered a better risk adjustment return with more annual income and lower volatility over the past 2 decades, thanks to its track record of consistent performance through multiple market cycles. With FUNDRISE, this level of powerful diversification is now available to you. FUNDRISE provides access to diversified portfolios of private real estate to all investors with their industry-leading, easy-to-use platform. Whether you're looking to add stable cash flow via dividends or prefer long-term growth through application, FUNDRISE makes investing in private real estate as easy as investing in stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. FUNDRISE's team of real estate professionals carefully vets and actively manages all of their real estate projects. And with their easy-to-use website, you can track your portfolio's performance and watch as properties across the country are acquired, improved, and operated via dynamic asset updates. Anos, if you listen to this podcast, you know Mike and I all we want to do is get rich. All we want to do is get rich and invest. But we don't know anything about investment because I studied music and I forget what Mike studied at UC Berkeley. But this app takes care of it all. It's really easy to use, and the app kind of takes care of everything for you. I know investing can be like a big black box, but they just kind of take care of it for you, and it's a good time. See for yourself how 150,000 investors have built a better portfolio with private real estate. It takes just a few minutes to get started. Go to fundrise.com/Asian today. That's FUNDRISE.com/Asian. Fundrise.com/Asian. You know, as somebody who clearly is cool with trade-offs and you know, obviously you have a house and you have a family to take care of. When you got this late night gig, a very reputable and respected gig with a decent amount of money, like, you know, what did that mean more to you than just comedy bragging rights? You know, like, was your family proud? I mean, it sounds like, because I just assumed like a lot of comedians, you know, your wife supported you or something like that, you know, because a lot of comedians will like, I have friends who are just like, oh, my wife's a lawyer and she just pays for everything until I make it, but they're at the fucking Lantern or whatever, right. You know what I mean? It's kind of sad, but you know, yeah, I just wanted to kind of like, you know, was that like a big moment in your family?
It was a big moment. I mean, in terms financially, my wife is a nurse now, so right. she makes good money, but like when we met, both of us were broke. And then we were both actors, still broke. And then I got this job tutoring, and then I was making bank. Mm-hmm. So I basically, and you know, then she left acting and tried a couple of jobs that didn't work out exactly. And then we had kids, and then she wanted to go to nursing school, which I was totally into. So I was able, because of the tutoring thing, to do tutoring, which was a pretty small time commitment, to do comedy and to put her through nursing school. And
oh shit,
I could do all that. So, but the two best moments of my comedy career, no contest, are coming off stage after Seth Meyers, and I come out after I do my late night set. I turn the corner, and both of my kids and my wife are like sprinting at me to hug me, to be like, "We're so proud of you."
Oh, that's so awesome.
That's great.
I mean, crush. And then also when I got hired for Colbert, I was in a Zoom. I assume you probably were too.
Yeah.
I was in a Zoom in my bedroom, and I opened the door to come out, and all my wife and both kids are at the door listening in.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry. That's so
awesome.
sweet.
It's very emotional. So like, doing comedy when you have kids, when you have a family, it is hard because there's just so much you're trying to juggle. My kids were young enough when I was coming up that they'd go to bed and then I would go do shows. So I didn't feel like I was missing time with them that much.
Yeah.
But it still is like you got to get babysitters. You got to like, there's a lot to juggle. To answer your original question, I mean, it was huge. And comedy bragging rights for me, bragging rights isn't exactly how I'd put it, but it is a thing of like, you know, being able to say to your dad, like, tell your friends, that, like the show that they all watch.
Yeah.
I worked there.
That
is the bragging rights part of it isn't that much for me. It's more the validation, which is right next door to bragging rights. But there's definitely that part of it of being able, just being like, this is legit. You know what I mean? Like where you do other stuff where it's like, you know, I have this cool gig or this cool gig, but none of it really means anything to somebody outside
of it.
So having something where you can be like, this is you've heard of this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, well I worked there, and they're like, okay. And then you have the validation of feeling like you're legitimately working in the industry.
That totally.
And that validation, again, all the things that shouldn't matter to people matter intensely to me, and like that. So that's a big deal.
Right. Yeah. I love the thing too about, you know, sharing those successes with your family, because I think it's just like, it's such a crazy thing when someone believes in you, and to finally see it come around.
Oh my God!
It's just
totally.
like, this is crazy, you know, because I get the sense that maybe, you know, if you're like most comedians, you don't believe in yourself for a long time and you're just doing it. I remember somebody said this once. It's like, in comedy, you're just kind of kidding yourself for a long time. You're just like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do this late night thing or whatever. I'm gonna do a show, or I'm gonna submit this millionth packet. I'm just gonna keep banging on. And there are people who like do believe in you, like. My wife will, you know, she'll like show me the show. She'll be like, hey, I think this is a really good show. You should watch it so you can like work on your writing. And like, this will like help you with your writing. And I'm like, yo, it is so rad. And I get such a boner when my wife is like, you know, she's supporting this stupid thing that I'm doing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? In whatever way, and you don't even believe that that's like a real thing.
And you
it's
think
crazy.
about the 1 billion shows. I mean, the shows my wife has been to, I can't even.
Oh my god!
Like,
Oh my god!
like, I mean, especially stand-up shows is one thing, but I mean, she was coming to shows when I was starting out doing improv.
Oh god!
Like. People's first 50 improv shows, 50 is a low number.
Yeah,
People's first 200
Mm-hmm.
improv shows, bar none, are freaking horrible. And I was on improv team where like kind of our thing was like, it was sort of like the people that you hate in Bed Stuy. It was kind of like our thing was like, let's be weird.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
So we were doing shows because in retrospect, it feels like a defense mechanism for just not being that good.
Yeah,
so we're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
we're not trying
we're
to be
not
good.
trying to be funny.
You
Did
see-
you laugh?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. If you came to see a good improv show, well, you've messed up. Our opening is all of us laying face down on the ground or something. You know what I mean? Whatever it
Hey,
was.
we're all gonna hang out a do or dive later.
And those are all like all those people now are incredibly sophisticated, smart, funny comedians. But we started out doing some garbage. And my wife has been to so many of
All
those.
those.
She's picked up the
Yeah.
kids from a thing because I had a callback for a thing.
That's why you put her through
there's-
nursing school because you owed her so
There's,
bad.
yes, there's so much. There's so much of that. So like I mean, that's like a marriage thing that you
Yeah.
know and maybe you're close to knowing about. But it's like very. It's all a team effort. Nothing was gained or lost on your own on either
Yeah,
side.
totally. I do want to talk to you about the
SATs,
tutoring thing. You don't have to tell me which company because it sounds like you want to be careful about it, which is totally cool. But yeah, I worked at the Princeton Review, and and the reason why I thought you were maybe worked there is because you mentioned Abu Dhabi, and Princeton Review also has that. And this is one of the big forks in my life where I was teaching there. This is in California, and then they were looking for someone to work in the office, like on the administrative side. So I applied for that and I got that. But then I also had applied for one of these roles in Abu Dhabi, and you're just like an SAT teacher / ESL teacher in Abu Dhabi, and they pay for all this shit. They give you one round trip ticket, and they give you all this money, and they find you a place to live and all that shit. And I was like 25, so it sounds like awesome. And one of the big choices I made in my life was I didn't go to Abu Dhabi. I stayed here, and then I was still like tutoring and stuff like that. So it was like very formative. And the people at I don't know how it was at your company, but at my company, they were all, if they had known that comedy was a thing, they would all be comedians. Like they were all very smart,
Yeah.
but like weirdos, just like couldn't fit in anywhere else, like had a hard time keeping other jobs, but like this thing really worked for them. I don't know if that was like kind of your case.
No, I don't think so. My company I was the least credentialed person there by a long shot.
Okay,
like
yeah.
everybody there would like gone to Princeton
Yep.
or, like if you went to University of Chicago, it was like, okay,
all right, well,
do you
yeah.
have a PhD? And they'd be like, yes, from Princeton. Okay, fine. But it was all like people who had done exceptionally well academically their whole lives, and then also gotten like perfect scores on whatever test they wanted to teach. And I mean, everybody was great and nice. They were all super supportive of everything I wanted to do. It was, and the thing that sticks with me the most about that job is having so many encounters with rich people.
Yes. Okay.
And being like, basically, they're fine.
Yes.
Yes. It was distressing to be like, wait, hang on a second. You're supposed to be a villain. That's what I built up in my mind. I was just like, oh, you know what? You're like me.
Yeah.
You're just me, but rich.
Yeah. It was one of the things. So I mainly did SAT teaching, like in a classroom, which I actually really like doing.
Yeah. Well, it's like a performance element.
It was
too.
a
That's
performance
fun.
thing, and I didn't know. Again, this was before I was a comedian, and I was like, I really like doing this, and I would tutor also. And at Princeton Review, tutoring is very, very lucrative. If you get to a certain level, you're like making like a shit ton of money. But I remember like kind of losing my taste for it because I remember I was teaching these two kids, and they had like full rides to this like college for basketball. And they were white kids, and they were really having a hard time with math, like very simple math. To this day, I'm not sure if maybe they were fucking with me, but it was very simple, and I was like, "What are you not getting about this? This is crazy." But but then I was thinking, wow, they're going to be okay no matter what because A, they got this full ride. B, they could afford a tutor, which I went to their houses, and that was always like a mind fuck because you were going to, I would drive up to these houses in my like Datsun. and it would be like this amazing mansion. I'd be like, wow, you could probably murder your basketball coach and still be on the team and
totally
be fine. Yeah. And I remember that was kind of like, okay, I got to kind of figure out, because you know what, like I'm not even really sure if my role for them is the role they need. Does that make sense? You know, like I wasn't really.
There's definitely a part of you that's like, am I helping to perpetuate an oligarchy by taking these people who already are just absolutely swimming, like have too much. They hate their money. It's too much.
Yeah,
you know
they
hate
money. Yeah.
That I'm helping them do better. But the lie that I told myself, or maybe it's true, is that whether I'm here or not, that's going to happen.
No, yeah.
And one of the things we were able to do at the company was you would also teach classes for free to kids
we did that too.
who couldn't afford the tutoring. So that part was, good. I liked it. I liked teaching in front of classes. It was like you have like a tight 5.
Yes,
of
you
like
do.
Teaching.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that made me stop doing it is I was telling I'd been doing the same set the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
Like we get to, this math packet and I'm like, oh, wait till we get to questions.
Check out my closer for this thing. When we talk about remainders, dog.
When I hit this guy with the fucking divisibility rules for 7, the crowd is going to go nuts. But after the 20th time you do it, not even 20, literally like probably the 2000th time do it, like I can't do this anymore because I've been telling this same joke. But that was like my thing as a tutor was always, hey, Michael, we have this kid, and they're like very withdrawn, and the mom says they need someone who like will really keep them interested. Every other tutor there was better at math than I was. Like no question about it.
Yeah.
But I was the one who would like get the kid who would not talk to anyone.
Yep.
To be like, hey, can we do another tutoring? Mike's so funny or whatever. And that was my thing.
That's cool.
And that was a niche that most other people there didn't occupy.
Right.
Most people were like, oh, I have a PhD in astrophysics from MIT. So I literally know everything. And I was like, I don't know dick shit, but I will make this fun for your kid.
Yeah. Did you ever have
I don't know dick shit.
Literally kids
but
being
I got a crazy tight 5 about dick shit.
Literally kids being like, how do you do this question? Me being like, no, how do you do it?
Your kids taught me so much. They're actually teaching you.
Exactly.
That happens all the time. I love it.
Listen, Mike, you know me on the podcast, I like to laugh like an insane person, spread joy through jokes and inappropriate comments. But is that how I feel on the inside in 2020? Absolutely not, Mike.
No, man.
It's a dark mess in here, dude. Sometimes I'm really sad. Sometimes I'm a little depressed. I'm really stressed. And I think a lot of people with the pandemic, they're not really sure about job security. And that's a huge source of stress for a lot of people. And I think if any of our listeners feel this way, they should check out our sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist.
Connect in a safe and private online environment. It's so convenient.
You can start communicating in under 24 hours.
This isn't self-help. It's professional counseling.
Send a message to your counselor anytime.
You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions.
Woo! All without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. You know how those waiting rooms can be, bro.
BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if you need it.
And it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available.
Licensed professional counselors who specialize in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, and self-esteem.
I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/Asian. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Asian.
Do you have any, there was one, I always remember this. There was one, a lot of the tutoring students that I had were fairly wealthy. Not all of them, but like a lot of them. And then there was like levels of like tutoring. So like if you got to a certain level, your hourly rate was like this insane number. And those students were like very well off. There was the richest kid I ever taught, family. I remember going up, they lived in a beautiful part of Orange County. I ring the doorbell and nobody answers. And I ring the doorbell again and a man in black appears behind me and he's like, hi, can I help you? He wasn't like menacing, but he could have easily snapped my neck if I didn't know.
Was he wearing a suit?
It was
No, he's
Eyes.
just like he was just like wearing just like a black like kind of like shirt and pants. And the student opens the door. He's like, no, he's okay. He come on in. And the guy's like, oh, okay. And I realize he's just like a guard. He's just a guy who's like protecting this house. And it wasn't like a gated house. It was just like, I don't know where he hid, to this day, I'm not sure where he was hiding. He just appeared behind me,
like
literally
inside a fake rock.
Yeah, and like the I met the family, and they like had a Rolls Royce. It was crazy. It was like they were very wealthy, and this is for. I had been around rich people, my whole life, and these people were like on another level. And this guy, he was very vague about what he did. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm retired," but he had all these computers and stuff like that with all these like, graphs and stuff like that. And I was like, for sure, this guy owes money to the Colombians or something. And I'm pretty sure that if I just show up at the wrong time at the wrong place, I will just be part of like
that guard's not there to keep you out. He's going to keep them in.
Yeah, exactly. It was super intense, and I was like, okay, I cannot teach anyone that has a bodyguard. So that was another thing. I don't know. Did you ever have any like real crazy things like that?
I mean, I tutored. I can't tell you the people that I tutored, but if I could tell you, you would know. You'd be like a lot of the people who are leftists are like, these are the villains of the universe. Their kids get tutored.
Whoa, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and even with those people, it's like you meet them and you're like, seems nice.
Yeah.
Fucking guy is nice.
Yeah.
It's just a situation where. Like, I do empathize. Once you get a dishwasher, I feel like you know what it is to be rich. Because now I will kill someone to not ever have to do. If you would take these dishes away, or one kid in a country I'll never meet doesn't get lunch for one day, I'm doing it. I'm keeping the dishwasher.
Sorry, dude.
I am.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so now I have a dishwasher and I have a garbage disposal. That's 2 kids who don't get lunch for one day.
Whatever.
They'll be fine.
You know what?
And then you have a plane, and now there's like a whole country that
doesn't have any food.
But you just work your way up to it.
Yeah.
I had experiences where, I mean, I would like get flown places that were wild.
Shit.
Or
there
like,
you go.
Wow. I was on a yacht like
to do SAT
over Christmas. My first year or second year, I was on a yacht. They flew me and my girlfriend, who's now my wife, to their yacht, and we tutored on the yacht. And like we're just hanging out. Like we were getting paid for however many hours a day, but the kid could only stand an hour,
right.
So we would get tutored for an hour and then go like, what is it called? Like banana boating? Is that a thing?
We don't even know because we're so poor.
Like inflatable thing.
It's like you're riding one of those like slippery dicks that go. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So that's what we did most of the time, and just like hung out and like we'd go to the clubs or whatever and tutor for an hour a day. And I love those people. I'm still like, but I have had a lot of interactions that were things like that.
Wow.
So like the very first kid I tutored, I walk into his house and I'm like, oh, I have a poster of that painting. And the kid's like, that's not a poster.
That's the
one.
one.
Like, that's the thing. The thing that I have a poster of,
Yeah.
This 5th grader has it on the wall in his bedroom.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he's got a collection of like every NBA player who ever, like everybody who averaged over 20 points and 10 rebounds in their career. He has all those signed basketballs just like in his room.
Hanging out.
They'll just fall, like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar signed basketball would just like roll out, and he'll be like, oh shit.
Oh, my fucking Kareem Abdul ball.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, whoops. It's like that kind of stuff. The thing I learned from tutoring most of all is how much money is in New York. Because you tutor one of those families, and then you walk up Park Avenue, and you're like, oh, every window is another one. There's another one of these. The old stack. And when I found out how much money I'd be making, I was like, well, I worked at Kaplan first, right?
Yep.
And I was making that job was everyone I worked with was great. That job was terrible.
Yeah.
My first assignment at Kaplan, I had broken my leg, which is the reason I took the job in the first place. They sent me to teach a class in Fordham at the Bronx. I had to get off the train with a broken leg, walk down and back up a hill.
It was I like that. It's like you have a poster of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he just has Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah,
he's like, hey guys, what's going on?
Just pay me to be here.
Just hanging.
That's
Do you guys?
exactly right.
Okay, so I wasn't at a tutor, but I had a tutor.
Okay.
And I remember.
Yes, that's the energy you give off. That's why you're
I
not
had a
getting
tutor.
served at Do or Dive Bar.
This guy gets.
I had a tutor, bro.
This guy gets
But I
tutored.
remember it would be right after school, and I would just be tired, right? Because I had jazz band and 0 periods. I'd be up since like 5.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm home at 3:30. This tutor comes at 4. We do 4 to 5 or whatever it was. And I remember like he'd be sitting right here, and I'd fall asleep. I'd fall asleep like this. And one day, we didn't even study, and he took me to the Darkness concert. He's like, let's not do this today.
Yeah. Darkness is the
band.
Everything called love.
Like, they were like, he's
saw
like,
that
you want
there?
to go to a concert? I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, because I was playing guitar, and he took me to a concert. And like, did you guys ever hang out
Yeah.
with her? I don't know. Like, do you guys?
I hung out. all the time.
Really?
That was like my thing. Like literally, you would sit there for
Other people teach. I smoke weed with my students.
You would sit with a kid for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And of those 90 minutes, it is not unusual for it to be like 70 minutes of, did you fucking see what happened in the baseball game last night? And then you're like Googling it, whatever, do all that shit. And then 20 minutes of, oh, you know what we should do? We should remember that it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But you have A and B, they're interchangeable. It doesn't matter which side. Just sneak it in.
Yeah.
And then you're back on the thing. And that, for me, was very effective. Like my kids crushed.
Yeah.
100%. This is more for the teaching and going back when you were in a classroom. I feel I learned a little bit about reading a room as a comedian because I could read a classroom. I could tell when I was like reaching a point where either the material was too boring or whatever, they needed a break, and I would like break off and tell a side story that's like kind of related to a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but it's really about drinking.
My friends Albert, Barry, and
Charles, we did a line of cocaine, and like you can see the kids like light up because they're like
cocaine.
They never.
Are we gonna do coke again?
Yeah. That was, I think, one of the cool things about teaching SAT was, you know, these high school students. Everybody treats them like high school students. Treats them like a kid, right? But then you finally have someone who's an adult or looks like an adult and is kind of like being fun with them and like just being their buddy. And I think that's like unusual for a lot of high school
and
kids.
And the thing that I think also made me have to stop doing it is I aged out of feeling normal when they would be like, oh man, this fucked up thing happened. Like when I started being like, I identify more with your parents than with you. It's like I can't. That's when I lost the ability to. It was just across a divide that was ever widening. Like they kept being high school students and I kept not being that. So I just got like the more that they were like, oh, you know, this happened with my mom, and I want to be like, yeah, it's because you're being an asshole.
You're being an asshole.
This is what happened.
Like respect your mom.
And one more thing, because I know that people tune into this podcast for standardized testing stuff. They're like, tell me about standardized testing. The one thing I want to say about it, because this is the only time I've ever been in front of people when I've had this thought, is people are trying to get rid of the SAT. You know what I mean? I don't think you should do that. I think that's a mistake. I think the SAT is a good test, and everyone should know how to do everything that's on it. And the thing that they're saying is like, oh, you know, well, it's racist. It reinforces the stereotypes that exist in the world, and it keeps people, stratified by their class and race and gender. To me, it's really a thermometer. It's telling you like, look at this. You can see from this that poor black kids are getting these scores and rich white kids are getting these scores. And what we're doing is going, well, we just don't want to see that anymore. Don't tell us. Shh, don't tell us that anymore. We don't want to know.
See.
Colleges know. Colleges are like, if a kid who lives in Bed Stuy, whose family's been there for 100 years, is applying to Harvard at the same time that Mike Bloomberg's daughter is applying to Harvard, they're not competing against each other. The admissions office is not putting those two people together. Mike Bloomberg's daughter, Jennifer, I don't know what her name is, but she's competing against Bill de Blasio's daughter, and well, probably not, honestly. She's competing against
Sasha Obama or whatever.
Exactly. She's competing against other billionaires' daughters. That's like who you're up against. That's the end of that part. Okay.
Oh gosh, and we're back with everybody's favorite segment. It is Das Race News. This one is not really a current event, but it's, I think, a lot of our
news.
A lot of our fans I think are also fans of this other podcast called Tiger Belly with Bobby Lee and his girlfriend. And they released an episode a week or two ago that got a lot of attention because David Cho was on it, the artist,
Facebook. That's Facebook guy, right?
Facebook guy, and then Steven Yeun was on it. And it was sort of like a sabotage episode, and they were trying to, because apparently like Bobby never wants to hang out with them or like ignores them. They only hang out when it's business. So David's like, let's just pretend to do this podcast so that we can all hang out and confront Bobby about all this stuff. And it was a very beautiful episode.
It was a very feeling Asian / Asian.
Yeah, we had an
vibe.
episode exactly like that.
Exactly,
I think they actually copied off of us.
Yeah, they did.
But there was so basically, towards the end, they're all talking about how Bobby Lee is very... So this is David Cho and Steven Yeun talking about how without Bobby, there is no Steven Yeun. Without Bobby, there's no David Cho. And Bobby often goes underappreciated. A lot of people are like, no, he was problematic on Mad TV or whatever. People don't realize what he really did for the Asian American community, Asian American comedy community. Right. And there's this part that really struck a chord with me when I guess Bobby has a bit on the podcast where he talks about at some point he, after he felt like he was established enough, he went to a Korean barbecue spot called Parks in K-Town. Apparently it's very good. And he ordered some meat, some expensive meat. And he ate the meat and he self-anointed himself.
Yeah.
As an accomplished Asian American comedian. And
is that the phrase what did he what was like the title he anointed himself?
I don't know what because Steve Yuen was like recounting the story and he didn't actually say what the title was.
Right. Okay. He just sort of anointed himself as something.
But Bobby Lee anointed himself as something. I'm saying it's probably just something as somebody who made it or something like that, right? And Steve Yuen goes on to comment that like that's such a shitty raw deal. Because that is the truth with a lot of like Asian American comedians. At least when he was coming up, is that nobody is really looking out for you. Nobody is there to say good job. Right. Nobody's there to say like you're doing it. There's nobody to model your career off of. And I feel that way sometimes with this podcast. I think our podcast is we shit on ourselves a lot, but like we are bigger than most podcasts on the platform.
Sure.
We're not Joe Rogan, but we're up there. We're doing our thing, and I feel like. We us and Feeling Asian and a couple other friends we always try to pump each other up because no one else pumps us up. No one cares really. No. Like it's not very I mean we've been on Vulture a couple times, but that's because this one person was like really really into us. I'm not sure if she writes there anymore, and I think that's why we've been on there for a while. But like I see all these just like a lot of people get a lot of shout outs. I remember there used to be a column on one of these like comedy blogs about like they interview 50 famous comedians and then they give out shout out to like 2-3 comedians that they think are gonna make it this year.
Yeah.
And like rarely do Asian comedians get a shout out, and like maybe part of that is because they never interviewed Asian comedians,
right?
And this like Korean barbecue self-anointing thing really just like stuck in my head because I think a lot of times like you and I have to also self-anoint ourselves. And I just wanted to open that up for discussion to see if you guys ever have had to either felt that way or if I had to self-anoint yourself because I don't know, you felt like nobody was watching or caring or something like that.
I mean, I'm not sure this is a direct answer to your question, but I am very aware of the issue that you're raising, and I feel like even as someone, for me, first of all, like Asian, not Asian is very directly applicable to me in a way that's somewhat different than the two of you because I'm half Asian. I don't read like most people who meet me off the bat would not say that I'm Asian. So even like having like a community like that, I've always felt like slightly outside of everything, which is kind of I mean, it's a very low level of oppression to be like I'm not quite white.
No, it's not oppression, but for sure it's like you don't belong.
Yeah,
right?
There's like there's a loneliness factor there. The Asian comedy community has been very accepting and open to me, and doing shows like the Asian Comedy Festival that we did,
that was sweet,
or Asian AF, which is a show that was at the UCB that I'm sure will be around once things start going again. You forget, like, oh shit, you know what? There are actually a lot of Asian people. It turns out there are tons of Asians, and you like. But I think culturally in this country, there really is like whiteness, obviously. And then counter to that is like blackness and all of the culture that's been strip mined from African Americans and black people who've come to this country. And in the middle, it's very like everything that's not those two things racially. I think is very nebulous. It's like it doesn't really have a secure. I mean, Hispanics, I think more than and Latinos more than Asians. Even. But I do think that's just a very interesting point that it does feel like there aren't very many Asians who get lifted up unless it's like us looking out for each other. Like,
that's all it is. Yeah,
I agree with that. I think too, you kind of look at even the successful Asian actors that are getting roles and they are not Asian American. We've talked about this before. It's like British.
Henry Golding or whatever.
He's Malaysian or something like that, right?
I mean, fucking Hollywood is like, oh, Asian? Nah. What's that? British Asian? Hell yeah. Then we're going to give you 18 roles. And that's like really is something, I mean, I notice, and I'm not shitting on anyone for getting the bag.
But it's not, it can't be a coincidence, right?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's like, we've said this before. It's like if we're gonna wait for someone to give us something, we're gonna wait forever, because it's just not gonna happen. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't even think it's necessarily like some sort of like big conspiracy of trying to keep Asian people in a certain place or whatever the fuck it is. It's just like I was talking to you about this before. There's just not that many proven paths of it. You know what I'm saying? There's like, because like Hollywood and a lot of places, they just want to see, has it been done before?
Yeah, it's like they want a proof of concept.
Yeah, they want a proof of concept.
Yeah. And I do think that British thing is a little bit, it's a branch off of a tree where they're like, okay, well, British white people worked. So we'll do an Asian, but we'll do one that sounds like, that sounds
if
like.
you close your eyes, that's good.
Exactly. We'll start there, and then eventually, so 100 years from now, that they'll be able to be like, and then this is just a regular Asian dude. But it's going to take a long time to for them to trust that, even because, Crazy Rich Asians. I'm just trying to think of like, but it does feel like there's so many things that are successful. If you can get someone to put it out there, they will see. Yeah. I was talking with the guy. His name escapes me right now, but one of the from the Randall Park's production company. I had a meeting with him, and it's just so exciting because a lot of their aim is toward like just promoting Asians and Asian American people. And like to have a group that like Randall's he's very successful. So to have someone behind it who's just like, no, we believe in this, and we know the market is out there.
Right.
Yeah. There's no doubting it. Right. So and I think like they're working on a thing, for example, with Joe Coy right now.
Oh shit.
That's someone who I don't think my wife knows who that is because I've brought him up. I don't know if anybody that I hang out with on a regular basis has any clue who Joe Coy is.
Right.
But he would sell out Madison Square Garden.
Oh my God,
easily.
for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, if you find like Asian people that will get jokes that white people, they'll have no idea what the joke is. They don't understand what's funny about it.
Yeah.
But there are people with eyes who would watch this and then buy your fucking cereal or whatever. They exist.
With mouths. Yeah.
So, I mean, again, this isn't directly the thing you were asking about, but I do feel like it's just going to take like one or two more of those things for that wall to come down.
When I first heard this, I was thinking about how we had Brian Park and Young Me on this podcast like a month ago.
Love them.
We had this conversation about he was saying like, oh, sometimes people come up to us and say, oh, I love your podcast, I like you guys more than Asian Not Asian, right? And I've had people say it to me, but the other way around. Sure. And what I'm trying to say is, okay, Asian comedians, like, all we got is self-anointment, so you can't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, only uplifting. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it have to be like, I don't like them, but I like you? Like, I don't care about this other part. If you don't like it, I can't control that.
Right.
But don't tell me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all we got is self-anointing, and I feel like comments like that kind of strip away at the very little credit and confidence that we're trying to build as a mass.
And it's tough because I think even both the podcasts, I've been on their podcast and yours, I like them both equally. That's
exactly what we want.
That's the kind of self-anointment we want.
The same level, everything to be on parity.
But I think even in the titles of the podcast, like your identity is part of it, so it's hard to. It's just a tricky thing to walk. You're trying to gather up the momentum within the community, right? Because Asian people are going to gravitate toward, anyone's going to gravitate toward a podcast that's like, oh, this is about me. This feels like it's going to address issues that are specific to me. Yeah. So then the question is like, how can I drop that and then be like, white people, you will also like this podcast, because they would, right?
Yeah.
But it is a thing of like who breaks through, so that people trust that the Asian American experience, whatever that is, can be for everyone. And like none of us has the Asian American experience. You just have your life and your life and my life.
Yeah. Anyway. To your point, I do feel sometimes a white comedy fan who is into the basic white comedians who are out there. They might see a very good Asian comedian and just automatically kind of say, oh well, I'm not gonna like this thing because I'm just not going to understand. Totally. Even though that person's really good and may actually talk about all sorts of stuff that has nothing to do with it. And I'm trying to think of like that crossover comedian. I feel there's tons of people who could be that for sure.
Who crossed over from being Asian to being mainstream? Yeah. I mean, probably Ronnie, right?
Right.
I feel like that it would be Ronnie.
Right.
I'm sure, but I'm sure there are other people that I'm
missing. Ali Wong, maybe?
Right? Okay.
Ali Wong too, but Ronnie is the one to me where it's like, if I bring up that I'm an Asian person who does comedy, someone else would be like, "Have you seen Ronnie Chang?" That's the first person that I feel like comes up.
Yeah, but I feel with Ronnie, he can do this thing that I can't do, which is like he's an outsider, you know?
Yes.
Because I can't do the stuff where, you know, he has this hilarious bit where it's like, you should have an Asian president because we're neutral.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I wouldn't be able to do that kind of because I'm saddled with like being an American.
Right.
You know,
right.
so I wouldn't be able to sell that because I don't believe it.
Yeah, him and John Oliver, all those guys can do like the America's fucked because they're not Americans.
Yeah. Whereas I'm like I'm inside of the burning house, so I can't tell people about the burning house because I'm inside the burning house.
You could be like, shit, it's fucking hot in
It's
here.
hot out here. Yeah.
Woo, it's a hot house.
Am I right, folks?
Yeah.
Hot in here.
Dog, aren't we hot in this house?
Are we hot in here? We're fucked. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for the bit.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think going back to your sort of anointing thing, there is something a little sad too about. I mean, shit. If Bobby Lee hasn't made it, who the fuck?
But I think that's the point.
You know what I'm saying?
He already is and has.
Right.
You know, and what he has is great.
Yeah.
And like, I think because the whole point is because he came up in this time when he told a story about the third day of him at Mad TV. A producer pulled him aside and said, "Hey, just so you know, I don't like you. I don't want an Asian guy. I want a white guy, but the head producer liked you. So we're gonna write stuff for you. You may not like all the jokes we write for you, but you're gonna have to do it."
Oh shit!
Right? That's that day 3, and so he came up in this time. So he's just always gonna feel like he's not enough.
Right.
Because when he was younger, even when he got Mad TV, which was like the SNL competitor, they were like, "We didn't actually want you here."
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's what they were trying to instill confidence in him by them anointing him, so he didn't have to anoint himself.
I do think, just to talk about self-anointing, and this is like, I do think that Asianness is like a thing unto itself culturally in comedy, and maybe elsewhere, but just because I'm in comedy, like I assuming, Fumi, that you are the first Asian writer at your show.
No, there's another one.
There's another who's there before you.
But I am 100% sure I am the first, like, expat kid who went to Japanese school on Saturday. Like, people, there are Japanese people in this country who are here. They're supposed to be here for like 4 or 5 years. They go to school on Saturdays with the intention of moving back to Japan for college, but then sometimes they don't. Out of those people, because there's a bunch of people like that in that community, I'm for sure the first one to ever write.
And here's another one. How many Asian people have done late night shows? Like, had sets. You know what I'm saying?
Probably like 3.
Honestly, I haven't even thought about it.
Like Joe Wong and Ronnie.
Who are not Americans.
Shang. Oh yeah, Joe Wong is Chinese. He's not American.
And I'm not.
Ronnie's not even American. You're right.
And so here's the thing. I want to say is that then this makes me sick to my stomach. You are historic.
No, I think really and truly, like
really,
I think there are things like that, and you know,
Mike is throwing up right.
Yeah.
You have to add the element of maybe people just didn't find it funny, right?
Yeah.
But so like you have to be aware of that. I think there's always a tendency to be like, the reason I haven't received XYZ is because of some kind of unseen force. It's also possible people are just like, I actually just don't like your comedy.
Right.
So I have to acknowledge that could be a thing. But I do feel like at my job, I think I might be the first person of Asian descent to ever write. Like, I'm talking about go down through Letterman. You know what I mean? At the Ed Sullivan Theater. And there's a woman who's hired right after me who is Indian. I think she might be the first Indian person to ever, go back, Letterman, whoever was in that, any of those people. There's no fanfare for it.
Yeah.
There's none.
Yeah.
And I think and
no fanfare.
But
I love trumpets.
And a lot of that is because of the different degrees and not even degrees, like the spectrums of oppression that exists for people of different, if you're gay, if you're black, whatever. So we feel like there's more to overcome.
Yeah.
But when you talk about that self-anointing, there's like nobody cares about that. So if anyone's going to be like, hey, I think Fumi might be has anybody even checked?
You're right.
To be like,
no one's asking. No one is checking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like recently,
to be like, who's the first? Like, how many Asian people have done stand-up on any of these shows? It's like, wow, actually, we're still in single digits, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I would imagine there have been great Asian stand-ups before us, for sure.
100%.
I just don't know who has been recognized in that way.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if Ali Wong ever did late night. Obviously, she could have.
Yeah.
But
she easily could have.
Joe Kim did it, but you're right. It's 100% single digits. Single digits for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like a bunch of them are like people we know directly.
Yeah.
Let me say this. The other possibility is There's fucking 70 of them, and we just don't know because nobody ever built those people. No one was ever like, you got to check out. You have to check out this person who was as funny as everybody else, but just faded away because culturally they didn't tap the zeitgeist or whatever that thing was. You know what I mean?
Here's a question I got then. So related, do you feel like you've made it?
I feel like if I died today, I could say I did comedy for a living.
Yes.
And in that way, I feel like I made it. But every day I open any app at all, right? I could open frickin' like my health app on my phone, and I'm like, I could be doing more. Like, I mean, mostly it's social media. I see anyone doing anything, and I'm like, why am I not?
Why am I not doing that?
Like, I found out this week that I didn't get Just for Laughs. And I'm like, who cares?
What?
And then I see something else, someone else do anything, and I'm like, now I need that.
Now I need that.
I thought that I was.
I need their negative energy.
Yeah, I thought that I was unfazed by not getting the thing, but then you realize, oh no, that cut a little tiny hole. That cut a little tiny hole, and now you need to fill it with someone else's sadness.
And that is how the origin story of the supervillain.
Yeah, exactly.
The sucker. How about you, Fumi? Do you feel like? Gosh. I mean, because here's the thing: when we started this podcast, in your fucking, we were chilling in our gym shorts on your fucking couch.
Yeah.
All right, and riling up Reddit with 200 listeners.
Yeah.
You know, now you have the writing thing, and God willing, the stand-up set will air.
Yeah.
That's two things. Do you feel like, you know what I'm saying?
I think I have a similar answer. I think, if I died today, it is nice people to say like, oh, I got a comedy job, because the barrier to entry is so fucking high.
Yeah.
It really feels like anime. Like you had to, like, you're in some tournament. You're in some comedy tournament and you like beat everybody else.
Yeah.
And you finally got a job at being a writer, being the lowest person on this operation. And you're like, it does feel like emotional. And I definitely did. I mean, you're right. The self-anointing thing. You came out to my late night thing. My close friends cared, but like, I went to go get sushi, you know, like alone. I got omakase.
Right.
Like, I anointed myself too, I did that just like, I wasn't even thinking about Bobby Lee at that point, Just like, but this podcast, I think I'm equally proud of it. I think even if it ended today, I'm very confident that I can't confidently say that we're going to get as big as Joe Rogan, but I am confident that if there was ever a documentary about Asian people doing comedy, somebody would mention this podcast. You know what I mean?
If there was a 30 for 30.
Yeah, if it was like somebody be like,
there was this one.
There was this podcast.
And we're briefly on there.
Yeah, we're like, just pictures of us, like our headshots. We're not even being interviewed, even though we're totally alive.
They mention the podcast and they show a picture of two different Asian guys.
It's Kim Jong-un.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anyways,
Mike,
all right.
Wait, Michael, I want to hear about you. Do you feel like you've made? No, you don't.
Not at all. No.
Well, this is a kind of a deep thing, but like, what would make you not? Obviously, nobody has the final answer because him and I, Michael and I don't feel like we completely made it. But like, what would be able to get you to say, I did the damn thing,
Geez, I think it would have to be. It's like, I've been around enough where I know that setting a goal is like an illusion.
Sure.
Like I'm like one of my goal is to like get staffed on a show.
Sure.
Right. And I know that I want it. I think I can get it.
Yeah.
And then once I get it, I know it won't mean shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
But I do feel that is something where, to your point, there's a validation thing where I can like say to other people, this is what I do, because, for a long time I didn't want to say I was a comedian, but it's gotten to the point where it's too long for me to say anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, I also do this podcast and I make stuff on social media and I just say I'm a comedian because it's honestly faster and it's true. I do spend a lot of brain power on this. So it's like, I guess in that way, it's, I feel authentic that I am a comedian. I don't feel like a fake. You know what I'm saying? And only recently have I started believing myself. So that was a new thing. So that's
I think I started believing myself like a year ago too. I mean, it takes like I don't know, it's just weird. Like recently I've finally been able to leave shows and think to myself, oh, I'm an asset,
I'm good.
Like they should thank me that I was on the show. I did a good job.
Who helped me do that is my wife, who's like, there'll be times where someone will ask me to do something, and my wife will think that like I shouldn't be doing that, and she'll be like, no, you don't do that anymore.
Oh,
like,
shit.
That's not what you do. And I like the part of me that's like I am worthless is like no baby, I do every dumb thing.
Everything.
If someone's like, hey, we need you to go to the Bronx to host a show
for the comptroller.
Exactly, in the basement of a Burger King. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, no problem. And took my wife being like, no, don't you understand? Like you're good.
Yeah.
You're good at it.
Don't you understand?
Don't stop doing that.
You are good at it. Don't do things that you would have to do if you were not good.
Right. Wow. See, that's what I was trying to tell you a couple bonus episodes ago.
You were.
That's don't go to the basement of Burger Kings.
Don't go to the basement.
That's what I was just get that tattooed. No basements of Burger Kings.
You know that
it is hard. No, you go.
Yeah, no, that tattoo will help me get service at Do or Dive too. So it'll be a nice one.
But you do have to. A thing that is very hard for me. How long is this podcast? 9 hours. Is to keep your eye on. Is to not do 100 fucking things and to be like, okay, there's something.
So hard to
there's
not.
one. What is the thing that I want to say to the world and be like, let me figure out how to that. I gotta say that. I gotta be saying that shit all the time. And in terms of being like when I was tutoring, but also doing comedy. I was making no money doing comedy, but I was doing it more than I was tutoring.
Yeah.
The finally saying to someone at a party or whatever, I'm a comedian. I know it sounds so lame, but it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That is what I am.
Yes.
I am.
Yes.
I mean, I'm many more things, of course. I'm a beautiful
all
flower. But the thing that I want to be doing is this. And it is I don't know if this is Nietzsche or who it is, but like the thing you tell the world you are, if you tell them long enough, that's what you are.
Yeah.
You will be that.
Yep.
And I think it took a long time for me to be like, I am a comedian. That is the fucking thing I want to do.
Yes.
Wow, what a low thing to put at the absolute top for yourself. If only I could be a comedian.
It's weird though because bringing it all the way back to this thing we were talking about with the dinner it's like I would rather be 100% of this thing I really want to be than to be 20% of this other thing. Do you know? As it's
of
like
course.
It's not me, like do I wish I had a yacht? For sure. Do I wish I could have people murdered? For sure.
Yes.
But like when I really fantasize in my mind, I don't fantasize about having a lot of stuff or being rich or whatever the fuck it is. I fantasize about like, I wrote a book. Like this is cool.
Oh my God.
I did that.
That's that's such a funny thing. I fantasize about being good at dancing.
I want to see you dance.
That's how I know I'm going to be poor. Because in my wildest fantasies,
in your wildest fantasy,
I'm at Friends and Lovers, some bar in Brooklyn. I'm just dancing in front of my friends, and everybody's, you're really good.
What happens is you're at the bar, you can't get a drink.
Yeah, I can't get a
drink. You
drink.
back away from the bar, you start dancing, everyone gathers around you. The bartender's just tossing drinks at you.
Oh, shit. That's a new sketch, okay? It's called Race Dance Timer.
Race Dance Timer. Oh my God, that was great. Michael Cruz. Oh my God.
Michael Cruz Kayne. But
Michael Cruz Kayne.
You got all the parts. You just kind of
My
mixed
God.
it.
I didn't fuck it up in the beginning, did I?
In the beginning, you did great.
Okay. Michael Cruz Kayne. Things
so
were getting wild. I was in my
I
fantasy.
agree.
I was dancing.
It was beautiful.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really loved it. I'm sad it has to stop. I had a great time.
I had a good time.
Amazing.
This was
we could do this I
had so many things I want to talk to you about, but this is.
We'll have you back on.
We'll have you back on.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, great. That's great.
Where can our fans find you and your work, man?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Cruz Kayne, CruzKayne, and I have a podcast coming out at some point called Good Grief about death and grief and stuff, which sounds fun.
Super fun.
Is it a comedy podcast?
Yeah,
it is. It's a comedy. I would say comedy ? Podcast.
Yeah.
We've already recorded a bunch of episodes
That's
with
awesome.
One of the leads from Issa Rae's new show, with Nicole Byer, with a bunch of really cool people. And I'm excited for that to be in the world.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Be on the lookout for that. And as always, you can follow us on social media at Asian.AsianPod. I'm also on there at the Fumi Abe. That's TheFumiAbe.
And you can find me on Instagram at Nice Pants Bro.
Please come out to the Fumi Goodbye Hack City show on July 28th. 8 p.m. at Canal Street Market. Ticket links are in this episode description, or just go to Asian.AsianPod.com and click on See Us Live for tickets, or the bio link in our Instagram. Join our Patreon, leave a review. I don't know. Tell your friends about the goddamn show. And I don't know. I guess that's it.
I don't know. At the end of the day,
I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't.
We don't know, and I don't know. I guess self-anoint yourself. I don't know.
Yeah.
Self-anoint yourself this week.
Anoint yourself.
Get some oil.
That could go on some merch. Anoint yourself.
Anoint yourself. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Like Napoleon.
Oh, we also have merch. Check out our merch.
It's a great merch plug.
Great merch plug.
Anyways, all right, Anals, we love you. Michael, thank you so much. And
Enjoy.
everybody, we'll see you guys next week.
Love you.
Bye.